Hello and welcome back to the channel. One of the big news stories this last week that has been churning around inside everyone's head was what was going to happen to The Flash with the announcement that Batgirl and Supergirl had both been canceled. It seemed like the end of the DCU. Well, The Flash is a big part of that storyline. But yesterday we got confirmation at the Warner Brothers Discovery earnings call that The Flash would indeed be released. Confirmation that The Flash is still on the way arrives after Warner Brothers Discovery totally scraps their Batgirl movie, citing that it didn't fit with their plans for DC in the future. But this begs the question, what are the plans for DC in the future, and who is going to be in charge of those plans? That's what I think, are going to find out right here in this next line. We're going to focus, but there will be a team with a 10-year plan focusing just on DC, Zaslav confirmed on the call. This is the important point. It's very similar to the structure that Alan Horn and Bob Iger put together very effectively with Kevin Feige at Disney. We think that we could build a long-term, much stronger, sustainable growth business out of DC. And as a part of that, we're going to focus on quality. We're not going to release any film before it's ready. We're not going to release a film to make a quarter. We're not going to release a film until it's ready. Under the focus is going to be, how do we make each of these films in general as good as possible? But DC is something that we think we could make better, and we're focused on it now. And part of that focus seems to be bringing Alan Horn back into the fold. Now, if you're not familiar with Alan Horn, he, up until about a year ago, was actually the chief creative officer at Disney. Now, we see that Alan Horn retired from this role at the end of 2021. That's interesting because that coincides with the retirement of Bob Iger, who is the person that brought Horn on. As we see here, Iger has assumed the role of executive chairman and will direct the company's creative endeavors. The company said Iger would stay on at Disney through the end of his contract on December 31st, 2021. That means that was it for Iger as CEO, and that coincides perfectly with the retirement of Alan Horn, who was specifically brought on by Iger. Now, if you're not familiar with who Alan Horn is, this guy is pretty much a legend in the industry. Horn became president and CEO of Warner Brothers in 1999, where he ran the studio in partnership with chairman and CEO Barry Meyer for 12 years. Under Horn's leadership, Warner Brothers had many hits, including the Harry Potter series and Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy. He was also executive producer on all three films in the Hobbit trilogy. At 68, Horn was forced to retire as president and COO of Warner Brothers at the behest of Time Warner chairman and CEO Jeffrey Bukes, who wanted to groom younger talent to take over at the studio, with Meyer relinquishing his role as studio CEO in March 2013 to be succeeded by Kevin Tsujihara, who was then later, I believe, succeeded by Ann Sarnoff, and neither of those people turned out to be, I think, a huge boon at all for Warner. In fact, I just don't think that they were good in the end of all. Now, interesting, what happened right after that is in 2012, Walt Disney Company chairman and CEO Bob Iger lured Horn out of retirement to become the chairman of Walt Disney Studios. Now, from there, as we said, he served in various roles at Walt Disney, becoming chief creative officer, which he served in until January 2021. So what does all of this mean? Well, Alan Horn joins Warner Brothers Discovery in consultant role. There's some interesting information in this article. I am thrilled to share with you, this is David Zaslav saying in an announcement that he sent out, I am thrilled to share with you that Alan Horn, one of the most respected studio executives in the industry, has agreed to assist me in a consultant role during this transition period starting August 1st. No one knows this business better than Alan does, and he has had an extraordinary career spanning nearly half a century. Now, if you haven't caught that August 1st, then that means that first of all, that as of before August 1st, David Zaslav was already in contact with Horn. Horn had only been in retirement again for, less than 9 months, less than 8 months. And David Zaslav was already talking to him. He probably picked up the phone and gave this guy a call as soon as he could. Most recently, he served as chairman and later co-chairman and chief creative officer. He oversaw the production of all motion pictures and the integration, this is important, the integration of Lucasfilm and Fox Film Studios, as well as the expansion into producing content for Disney streaming services. Horn is very well respected and seen as one of the most honest and upstanding executives in the business. Let's say again, he was involved with both Harry Potter and the Dark Knight trilogy, lured out of retirement and enjoyed a great second act at Disney where he cultivated relationships at Marvel, Lucasfilm, and Pixar to great success. So look, here is a guy who was a key member and really helped with all of these things that Disney was taking on at the time. Disney's acquisition of Marvel, Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilm. He was involved with Pixar. And, as a result, Zaslav is basically in a similar position to where Disney was at this time. Discovery, which merged with Warner Brothers, has just basically picked up DC. And again, this is something that Zaslav believes is the crown jewel of Warner Brothers Discovery. And he believes that this crown jewel should be able to power the rest of their movies. And indeed, he is correct. I mean, Aquaman was a $1 billion film. And then afterwards, the crap that was turned out by Ann Sarnoff, like Wonder Woman 1984, which lost money, and even Birds of Prey, which just barely broke even, made a small profit. Those should have been bigger movies. I mean, Wonder Woman 1984 should have been huge. No. This is why Zaslav is bringing Alan Horn back. He needs someone either to directly oversee this, or he needs someone to basically be the guy that people run their stuff through, even if he's not officially the guy in charge. Now, said he's going to be in a consultant role, so I guarantee you he is going to definitely be consulting, and people are going to have to consult him before they make decisions. He will have a lot of input in this. So once again, let me just reiterate this part. We're going to focus, but there will be a team with a 10-year plan focusing just on DC. This is one of the reasons why Marvel Phase 1, 2, and 3 were so successful, because they had a coherent plan. They had an overarching story. And each film was basically a chapter in that story. Now, not all of the films were central to that overall storyline and were a major part of that storyline, but they certainly did not contradict it. And that's really the problem with DC's, I can't call it a focus so far, because DC has been anything but focused. They've been all over the place, sort of like Lucasfilm has been going in every different direction. Hundreds of directors and producers, and just letting people go whichever way they want and tell whatever story they want with zero oversight or direction. And that's a terrible way to tell an overarching story. Very similar to the structure that Alan Horn and Bob Iger put together very effectively with Kevin Feige at Disney. This is what Zaslav is planning to do. It's going to be Zaslav and Horn and one other person. Zaslav has not named who that person who will head DC, who will be the president of DC yet, but expect that announcement to come. And I think this is a great thing. I think we can expect good things from DC, especially with Marvel winding down and fading. Zaslav sees an opportunity to make literally billions of dollars, because there will be a vacuum and he intends to fill that. But what do you think? Do you think this is going to work? Is Alan Horn someone who can actually have an impact here? Is he going to save DC? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to continue to smash the narrative, then smash the like and subscribe and share buttons. I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.